The most lethal villain introduction in modern cinema contains absolutely no violence. It features a glass of fresh milk, and it hinges on a sudden switch to the English language. Quentin Tarantino engineered the opening of Inglourious Basterds as a trap. He wrote a 20-minute interrogation sequence spanning 3 different languages. The structural demands were completely absurd. Tarantino was exactly 1 week away from canceling the entire film. He believed the character of Hans Landa was literally unplayable. He even told Leonardo DiCaprio he couldn't handle the role. Then an unknown Austrian actor named Christoph Waltz sat down to read.
Ooh, that's a bingo!
Waltz didn't just rescue a doomed production. He executed a masterclass in psychological warfare. He transformed a quiet French farmhouse into a suffocating cage. He used oversized props to assert physical dominance over his prey. But the true horror of this scene goes completely unnoticed. The actual execution happens minutes before a single bullet is fired. It relies entirely on a calculated linguistic pivot. Understanding exactly how this mechanism works changes the scene completely. Quentin Tarantino backed himself into a corner. He wrote a script that required a very specific kind of monster. Hans Landa needed to be charming, repulsive, comedic, and lethal all at once. He also had to transition seamlessly between German, French, and English. This was not a request for a good accent. The role strictly required native-level fluency in multiple languages. Tarantino famously turned away Leonardo DiCaprio for this exact reason. The director realized his antagonist might actually be unplayable. He issued a blunt ultimatum to his producers. If they could not find the perfect Landa, he was shelving the movie permanently. They were exactly 1 week away from shutting production down. Then, Christoph Waltz walked into the audition room. He was a 52-year-old Austrian actor. He was virtually unknown to international audiences, but he possessed the exact theatrical agility the script demanded. His audition was so overpowering that Tarantino immediately changed his strategy. The director knew Waltz could easily intimidate the rest of the cast. He gave the actor a very specific instruction for the initial table read. Tarantino told him to intentionally hold back. He established a strict limit. On a scale of 1 to 10, Waltz was only allowed to give a 6. If he got into a competition with anyone at the table, he had to lose. Tarantino wanted Landa's true capabilities kept completely hidden. He wanted the terror to be a shock on the day of filming. Waltz clearly had the vocabulary for the part, but reciting lines is very different from executing a psychological trap. The real test was waiting inside that French farmhouse. The farmhouse sequence opens with an exercise in quiet, pastoral normalcy. Perrier Lapidite is outside chopping wood. He is exerting physical effort in the bright morning sun. Then, the Nazi convoy appears on the horizon. Lapidite instructs his daughters to go inside and washes his hands. Landa steps out of his staff car. He approaches the house with a sweeping, theatrical stride. He wears a bright, exaggerated smile. He greets the farmer with disarming, terrifying warmth. Landa steps across the threshold, but he does not enter like a brutal military conqueror. He enters like an overly polite, slightly bumbling bureaucrat. He asks formal permission to enter. He asks permission to sit down. He compliments the family on their lovely daughters. For 10 straight minutes, Landa plays the polite guest. This counterintuitive behavior is a deliberate tactical choice. He makes Lapidite feel a false sense of control. When offered a glass of wine, Landa politely declines. He asks for a glass of milk instead. Milk is the literal lifeblood of this dairy farm. By demanding it, Landa forces the farmer to serve him his own labor. He drinks the milk in one long, unbroken gulp. The sound design amplifies every swallow. It is a visceral, predatory audio cue disguised behind elegant manners. He is metaphorically consuming the farm before he ever makes a demand. He is not acting like a soldier. He is acting like a detective who already knows the answer. But as Landa wipes the white mustache from his lip, the camera moves. And a single directorial choice completely restructures the scene. The camera drops beneath the floorboards. Inches below Landa's polished boots, the Dreyfus family is huddled in the dirt. They are terrified, holding their breath, staring up at the ceiling. This single shot changes everything. Quentin Tarantino is executing Alfred Hitchcock's classic bomb under the table theory. Hitchcock explained that if a bomb explodes under a table, the audience gets 10 seconds of shock. But if you show the audience the bomb ticking first, you create 15 minutes of agonizing suspense. Every mundane sentence spoken above the floorboards suddenly carries immense weight. When Landa shifts his chair, the floorboards creak directly above their heads. When Landa asks about rumors regarding the Dreyfuses, the audience holds its breath. The tension is no longer about what Landa is trying to find out. The tension comes from the excruciating wait for when he will reveal he already knows. Landa knows the family is down there. He was aware of them the moment he walked into the room. He takes the wrist of Lapidite's daughter under the guise of a polite greeting. He is actually checking her pulse to measure her fear. He is playing a long, psychological game of cat and mouse. He has built a trap around the entire family. Now, he just needs to spring it without pulling a trigger. Landa eventually reaches the limit of his small talk. He claims his French is becoming depleted. He politely asks to switch to English. Lapidite agrees. This is not a casual conversational shift. It is a calculated, tactical perimeter. The Dreyfus family, under the floorboards, does not speak English. By changing the language, Landa effectively turns off the lights. He completely isolates the farmer. He strips the hidden family of their situational awareness. They can no longer understand the negotiation happening above them. They have no idea Lapidite is being systematically broken down. They cannot hear the exact moment they are betrayed. The family is functionally dead before a single gun is fired. The tension here relies purely on vocabulary, but Landa has one final psychological blow left to deliver. The tension in the room is suffocating. Lapidite reaches for his modest corncob pipe. It is a small, desperate comfort mechanism. Landa watches him pack the tobacco. He then asks for permission to smoke his own pipe. He pulls out an absurdly oversized calabash meerschaum. It is the exact model famously associated with Sherlock Holmes. This prop is a visual assertion of absolute dominance. It engulfs Lapidite's pipe in sheer physical scale. It signals to the farmer that Landa is the master detective. It proves he has already solved the case. The polite facade finally drops. Landa secures a tearful confession from the broken farmer. He switches back to French to address the floorboards. He orders his soldiers to fire, but he allows Shoshana Dreyfus to run out the door. It is a final, calculated decision that sets the entire film in motion. The scene ends exactly as Tarantino engineered it, with Christoph Waltz proving why no one else could play Hans Landa.